Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to delete the kickstand switch from your CRF450L or RL. Before I get into the video, I want to thank everybody who's liked my videos or subscribed to my channel. It's really helped drive traffic to the channel and helped me reach finally a level of being an affiliate with YouTube. And so I'm really trying to step up my game with you guys. I've got some new camera equipment, some new sound equipment, some great videos planned for you guys, including a video on how to build this wheelie trainer. And I plan to put out CAD drawings and measurements and all the plans needed to build that. So that should be a really great video. And then 2 days from now I'm headed to Sargent, Colorado to do some single track riding, and I plan to post up some video reviews of those trails up there. So please, if you haven't, the only way to stay up with that is to subscribe to the channel, and liking the videos helps me out a lot. So here we go into this mod. Alright, the first thing to do on this mod, if you're going to completely remove the wire harness, is to remove these two bolts, one here and one right here, that hold on the cover, the protective cover for the kickstand switch. Alright, once that's out of the way, then you've got a bolt right here that holds the actual switch itself on. Okay, that'll take the switch loose, and I'm just going to note right here, I'm not putting any of that hardware back on here. You can put yours back on if you want, if you like the look of it, but there's no need, so all that hardware is staying off. The next thing we got to do is take these two Allen bolts out, because they hold on a bracket on the back that holds this wiring harness on. So for that, you're going to need an 5 millimeter Allen wrench or socket, and you can take those off, and there's a bracket back here that'll fall loose. Right there. And if you want to, for the aesthetics of your bike, so it'll look better, you can put it back on, but you know, if you're not really worried about it, then you can leave it off. But anyway, that is the bracket back there. Probably what I'm going to do is cut these tabs off so they're not sticking out, and use that nut plate to put those two bolts back in, just for looks more than anything. Moving on up the bike from where you took those Allen screws out, the next thing holding this wire harness on is a little clip right here, and it's one of those ones that plugs into a hole. And so what I'm going to do is use a pair of needle nose pliers to compress the back side of that plug and pull it back through this hole. Alright, so there you go. That's pulled loose. You can see the plug and how it works. And then there's a bracket right there that it's plugged into. That has an 8 millimeter nut or 8 millimeter bolt on the back of it. And I'm going to take that nut out, remove the bracket, and then put the nut back in, because I don't know if that nut plate goes all the way through to the hollow inside of the frame, and I don't want to leave a hole there. So I'm going to put some Loctite on it and put it back in. From where you pull this plug off, once you get that bracket removed and that nut put back in there, if you trace on up the wire, it comes by the frame up here, and there's a zip tie holding it to the frame. This zip tie doesn't hold anything else on, just this one little wire harness. And since we're removing it, you can either cut this zip tie right here and just take it off, or it's one of those zip ties that has the little tab on it that you can pull and take the zip tie off and then reuse it later. I can actually get to the back side of mine, so I'm going to pull that zip tie off, and that way I can reuse it later on a future project. Once you have this zip tie loose, that's got the entire wire harness loose except for the plug, and the plug is not too much farther back up underneath there. I'm going to reposition the camera and try and get you a view of it. The way to access the plug on this switch is right up through here, and I'm going to try and get down here and shine some light. The plug is going to be that plug right there.
right there. And so it's just...
I just reached up in there with a pair of needle nose pliers and grabbed a hold of that plug and pulled it. Came loose pretty easy, and then it's just a matter of pulling it back out of the bike loose, and there's the plug right there. This is what you're trying to depress whenever you're pulling it loose. So I grabbed it with pliers, depressed it, and just pulled it loose. All right, once you got the whole switch assembly out, what we got to do is take those two wires right there and splice them together. Now, there's several different ways to go about this depending on what equipment you've got and what skills you've got to do it. Probably the easiest is just one of these little crimp connectors that you butt the wires up into and crimp it together, and then a little bit of electrical tape. That'll do it. Another option is this is a crimp connector with heat shrink ends on it. So this is going to make it a little more waterproof, and it being a off-road bike, that's a good idea. So you can use that, one of these with a little heat shrink. What I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the wires together, cut them, solder them together, and then I'm going to use heat shrink tubing to seal that connection up. I don't want to use the butt connectors because if they do get corroded and the wire ends up breaking or the connection ends up getting lost, wherever you're at, you're stuck until you can fix that. So I want to make it a little more durable of a mod, so I'm going to actually solder them together. But whatever you got, use whatever you got, it'll work. First thing you're going to do is take you a little razor knife, cut this sheath off, and then get to those wires. With the heat shrink tubing cut back a little bit and in place, then you're just going to take these two wires and roll them together. Try and get a good tight fit in between them. That's going to make your solder connection better, and so that they kind of look like that, and then you just apply the solder to them. This is what my final plug and connection looks like. Looped together, sealed up well, and now we just plug it back into the bike. Hey guys, so there you go. That's the Kickstand Delete mod. I hope my videos are saving you guys a little bit of money and you're finding some use out of them. You can pay me back by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see some future videos. If you have some questions about the bike, comments, or if there's a future video that you'd like to see on something to do on the bike, please post them in the comments section, and I will see what I can do about getting that hit up for you. You guys be safe on the trails out there.